Welcome to the Barcelona apartment tour series. I can tell you that we had the first few days, I think we saw about 2 apartments, and I forgot to film them on here. And after the first 2 days and realizing the different things that we had to do and how difficult this process actually was going to be, I realized I needed to sit down and do a catch up and really explain all of the aspects of finding an apartment for anyone who's moving to Barcelona, and also to share some ideas on price, neighborhoods, how to rent them, what you need, and all of that stuff in between, as well as showing you some apartments that we're going to see. The first 2 really were just to dip our toes in and kind of start understanding what we're actually looking for, what we really need, all of that. So moving forward, I will video all the apartments as long as the owners aren't there for you guys, just to show you what the different apartments are like. But to start on the video, I wanted to explain how you actually go about finding these apartments. So first things, you will go to Idealista. This is the most common website that you'll be using for your search. Obviously you can go in, I would suggest typing in Barcelona, just municipality, make sure you have rent on, and then what you can actually do, you can go and draw your own area. So this is what I have done. Go into exactly where you want to live in Barcelona. You can click the draw your own area, and you just go in and pick the neighborhood and area in which you'd like to live, and then it'll narrow down your search. That's pretty much the area we want to be. We want to be in Eixample and St. Anthony, and then we're also open to Eixample on the right, kind of near Sagrada Familia, but not quite there yet. Then you obviously can go in and you can see all of the properties that are available for rent. One thing I would say, definitely make sure you put a budget in there. So for this video, we'll put in the budget of 2,000. And then go down and you can choose what you're actually looking for, what type of home. We leave that fine. We're looking for a furnished apartment. We just want to move in somewhere. This is a very common option in Barcelona to have furnished apartments. I think it's easier to move in that way, and also takes a lot of the stress off of trying to furnish an entire apartment in Spain. Make sure you add your bedrooms. We definitely are at a minimum of 2 bedrooms, really hoping for a third for an office, and you can obviously add in anything else that you are really looking for. So from there, you can kind of go and see what options are available to you. They'll give you the cost, they'll give you the amount of bedrooms, the square footage, and what neighborhood they're going, and then you can see different pictures from different apartments for what you were looking for. So I would definitely suggest using Idealista. Another option you can use is Fotocasa. Now, the one thing about Fotocasa I will say is it's not in English. Idealista you can make into English. So this one you kind of have to have a better idea on Spanish, or you can just add in the Google Translate option to your pages so that we are able to see. Same thing, you want to go and filter through for what type of apartment you're looking for, your price difference, your bedrooms, bathrooms, that kind of thing. And then you can obviously see on the map where they are, and you go through and you find your apartment that you're looking for. Now, on both Idealista or Fotocasa, you will be having to contact people. So you'd hit the contact button on either one. It'll pop up with an ability to send them a message with your phone number, your address, your name. I would highly suggest having a Spanish phone number, because some offices will be calling you, and if you can't answer the phone, it's not going to work. Or if you have a foreign phone number, sometimes they will not call you. So definitely make sure you get the Spanish phone number in there. You can obviously always add a comment. Same with Idealista, saying what you're looking for, who you are. But I would actually highly suggest not using this option. We have found that it doesn't really work well whatsoever. So you kind of have to go and call people. Now, like I just said to you, I really do highly suggest calling. We sent messages to so many different agents and so many different offices, and we really got 0 responses. I would say maybe 3 out of the 25 that we sent messages to actually messaged us back. So the only way to really get through and to make an appointment to schedule and see these are to call them. Now, I will give you a warning: if you don't speak any Spanish, unless you're calling one of the bigger agency offices, a lot of times they are not going to be able to speak English, or they just don't want to speak English to you, which is fine. I mean, we're in Spain, I totally get it. I ask every time if they speak English, because I am way more comfortable, obviously, speaking English. But if they say no, then I will do my broken Spanish to try and get through to schedule an appointment for us to view the apartment. So it has definitely been a whirlwind. There's times where it's been a bit frustrating. There were some apartments that we really loved, and we called and we asked if they spoke English, and they were very firm on the fact that they did not. And then when I tried to speak Spanish, they got frustrated within half a second and hung up on us. And that happened at multiple different places. We even went into an office where we saw an apartment where we really, really wanted to see it. And we walked into the office, tried to talk to them. As soon as we were speaking English or then tried to speak Spanish and it wasn't easy for them, they literally told us no, and they wouldn't even help us. So we've definitely come across some rude agents, and we've come across some really, really nice agents. I'm not going to fault them for not speaking English. We are in Spain. Obviously, Spanish is the language here, but I think it definitely makes it just a bit more difficult. So you definitely need to brush up on some of your Spanish if you're looking to schedule some appointments, or try and work with one of the bigger agencies where you definitely will have more English speakers or people who can at least try and communicate with you. I think it's definitely important to have someone who can communicate a little bit, because you will be signing contracts, you will be signing paperwork. There's a lot of questions about apartments you should be asking, and you want to make sure that you fully understand everything before you go in. Now, like I said, we've called multiple places, and we got appointments for 4 apartments, 2 of which we saw and 2 were canceled on us because people already reserved them. So if you're planning on moving here, I'd give you the advice to be ready for some frustration and stress, because it definitely is not super easy. Unless you have a really high budget, then obviously there's less competition. But if you're just looking for an apartment anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 euros a month, you're pretty much going to be facing some frustrations. We definitely have. So it's been a whirlwind, and I know this coming week we are like really putting our head down, and we're going to schedule as many appointments as we possibly can and really get all of our paperwork together, so that way when we find the place we love, we can try and reserve it as soon as possible and get it off the market before anyone else does. So with all of that being said, to reserve apartment, I have to let you know it is expensive. It is with any sort of new move, any sort of lease signing. So usually what most apartments want from you is they want 2 months security deposit, they want 1 month's rent, and then they want the agency fee. And the agency fee sometimes can be 1 month's rent, but most of the time it's gonna be 10% of the full year rent. So obviously whatever your monthly rent is times 12, and then take 10% of that, and then add on the 20% VAT tax onto it. So it's usually like a month and a quarter that you're gonna be spending on the agency fee. So pretty much you need to have at least 4 months rent ready to go, and then sometimes there's a fee to reserve it and there's a fee to do the paperwork. So it pretty much is about 4.5 months rent, and some apartments even want you to do 3 months security deposit. So you need to have a few grand on hand so you can put it down and you can reserve that apartment. So definitely be prepared for that. It is not just a small security deposit and 1 month's rent. Unless you can find a direct owner to rent from, then maybe you can swerve that agency fee, which is definitely something a lot of people try and do. If I can find it that way, I 100% will, but I would say almost 95% of the apartments that I see out there all are listed by an agency. So definitely prepared for all of that. Now, to rent your apartment, you're gonna need your passport, your DNI, or your NI number. Now, these are your foreign text ID numbers. This process, you can actually get started before having a visa. We actually just met with our lawyer to get our process started, because to have that number allows you to be able to get Wi-Fi, allows you to rent the bikes in the city, it allows you to have your Spanish bank account and all of that stuff. So I think it's a really great idea to get that started as soon as you get here, especially if you're gonna be here for a long time. And then you can have that for your rental apartments. Now, one of the agents actually gave us a piece of advice, and he said obviously the rental market is a bit crazy and quite competitive, so he suggested that we actually pull together a document saying what I do, what Harry does, what our income is collectively together, how long our work contracts are, if we have pets, what we do for work, and just give a bit about ourselves on a little PDF document, and then have that to be able to give to them, just so they have an idea of who you are, and it might just help you in the process of being chosen over somebody else. And the last thing you will need is you're going to need some sort of proof of funds, bank account, savings, your monthly income reports, that kind of stuff, so people can actually prove that you have enough money to live in the apartment and that you have enough money to pay for everything. So that kind of gives you a good gist of what the apartment rental market is like right now, where to go find apartments, how you can contact the agents or the apartment listings, what paperwork you will need to rent apartments, and all of the fees needed involved. So that just gives a general overview of the process, and I feel like I make it seem a lot simpler than it is. You gotta spend a lot of time on these websites because the listings just get added periodically throughout the day, and you need to literally be like, bam, I see it, bam, I'm on the phone, making an appointment to schedule and go and do it as soon as possible because these things fly off the market. And like I said, we've had people call and cancel our scheduled visit appointments because someone already reserved it before we even got there. So it is definitely a crazy rental market. I'm hoping, pray for me and pray for Harry and our situation, that we will have our apartment sorted by at least March 28th, when we actually have to give up our short-term rental right now. Because if not, I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna do. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I'm hoping we get it sorted within this next week and a half and just have it all done, because it is just giving me a bit of a migraine, I'm not gonna lie. So Monday we have our first viewing of the week, and we're gonna try and schedule in some more. And let's just hope that Monday for the first apartment of the week will go well, and we'll see things and we'll get things moving and everything will just work out seamlessly. One can hope. We'll check back later in the video on that one. Oh my god, guys. We are about 36 hours out from having no accommodation. I can't explain to you what has happened in the past few days for our long-term accommodation, our short-term accommodation options, why we're even in this mess. It is just pure chaos zone. My stress levels are like through the roof is not even a term that I can equate to anymore. I'm well beyond that. So much has happened. Thank God for Barcelona cheap wine because it's getting me through my day sometimes. But I have so much to tell you guys on this apartment journey of everything that's happening, what's been going on, and so many updates to give on this entire process. So make sure you keep an eye out for the next video because it's literally just mayhem. Like, I don't have another word for it. I'm so much share with you guys. So all I can say is keep us in your prayers because things are not going that smoothly. And moving internationally, let's just say it's a freaking journey and roller coaster ride. So I'll catch you in the next chaos video. See you then.